So guys, in this episode I went down to Portsmouth to meet Alastair, who basically sources properties for investors. So he basically takes a pretty standard 2-bedroom terrace house in Portsmouth and converts it into a 7-bedroom HMO. So within this episode I'll give you a breakdown of how he does it, and at the end there's a really good interview that gives an insight into Alastair's property journey. Alright guys, so I'm here with Ali, who is a property investor in HMO properties, and he's going to show me his property in Portsmouth. So when we first walked into the property, Alastair tried to move some boarding out of the way so that we could get into the kitchen area. He turned around and it fell on the back of his head. It was hilarious, but unfortunately I didn't get it on film, but this is him afterwards. All good?
So it was boarded up and I just got smacked on the head, but let's show you around the back of the house. So this before was the kitchen, which is really quite small, and then extension only 2 meters, which has just been taken down today. What we're going to do, we've ripped out the whole old kitchen. This is going to be worktops along the side here and along this side, and then a breakfast bar with a 3-meter extension out the back. So this is basically 2 meters, so 1 extra meter with a skylight and sort of a fake ceiling here, so we have to have a minimum ceiling height. You know, but lovely, spacious, really bright space for the tenants, which is what they want. They don't want a separate dark lounge, which so many of them have, because there's no planning when these people extend and develop their HMOs. They do it as cheap as possible. What we're doing is spending a lot of money to make it as nice as possible. What we're going to do is side access, because there's an alleyway that runs along the side there, so we'll put a secure gate in there and then a brick built bin and bike storage there, which I'm going to show you what we've done in the next property as well. Yeah, show you around. So I've been here for literally 2 days and the guy was smashing it out. So literally this was the family bathroom. This wall's just been taken out today or yesterday. So now all the stud-works up, that's going to be bedroom, and this gets the ensuite, which is the family bathroom. So they get a lovely, massive ensuite toilet there, and a decent sized double as well. This room, if you want to have a look in there, that's the smallest double. So what we do is we take the ensuite space from the front bedroom. And we're taking all the chimneys out in every room. So although it's a bit of expense, it's an extra metre squared in every room. So in here you'll have an ensuite for this room, just here, and an ensuite for that room just there, with the door obviously that side, and then a built-in wardrobe just there. And then the stairs will go up there into the loft for another 2 double ensuite rooms.
What's this massive steel for?
For the loft, because
right, okay, full loft
so that's
conversion.
literally gone in today.
Yeah.
And the loft will be formed tomorrow or Friday.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Our 3-bed house turned into a 6 or 7 bed all-en-suite HMO. A 3-bed house probably rents for £1,200 for this kind of house, whereas a 7-bed all-en-suite HMO rent for about $4,200. Yeah. So 3 or 4 times the original rental.
Cool. Well, thanks for the insight, Ali. There you go.
Pleasure.
It's currently a restoration. Oh, 6. Is it a 6-bed or a 7-bed?
7.
I've just viewed this HMO property with Ali. It's a conversion that he's doing at the moment, like a restoration of a Victorian terraced house, and this is sort of midway or at the beginning of one of his projects. I'm about to go and view a completed one, and I'll show you that in a minute. This is the crown of glory, isn't it, this room?
This is it, this is the communal area. This is the extension from here.
Backwards.
Yeah. And the same obviously with that room. Biggest bedroom. It's a monster.
Yeah, this is massive.
A lot of people have a studio flat, and that's this size.
Yeah.
But they'll be paying about £700 for a studio flat, but then all the bills, which is about probably £400.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, the bathrooms are all really nice.
Yeah.
Alright guys, so I've just viewed the renovation project with Ali and we're now at the completed project, HMO. You might know me, Ed, from Ed's Home Reno. I have a Instagram, TikTok and YouTube account where I am restoring an 1860s Victorian mid-terrace house. The property has always been sort of an investment for me, so it was either going to be a flip or a refinance at the end and get someone in renting the place. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But I've always had a keen interest in property investment, which is why I'm here today with Ali to ask him some questions. And before I say too much, Ali, do you want to quickly just introduce yourself?
Sure, so I'm Alastair Farquhar. You can spell it yourself, struggle away, and you'll see me on Instagram mainly. So give me a follow there, and I basically document the whole refurb process of all of these that we do for investors. So we do multiple at a time, maybe 30 to 40 in a year. Turning houses into HMOs basically.
So what was your former job before pursuing property investment?
So I was a firearms police officer for 3 years and then a couple of years working in custody before that. I suppose that was always what I wanted to do from the age of like 5.
Yeah.
There's a video of me, like 4 or 5 years old saying, yeah, I'm in the police. And I just naturally worked towards it. And I talk a lot about setting goals and aiming towards that goal and things. Unintentionally, that was just my goal, and so naturally you just do it. But then after doing it a few years, I was like, I don't know if this is exactly what I thought it would be. It is a lot of fun and it was a massive learning experience for me. Gained loads of confidence, dealing with all sorts, obviously. And that 100% helped me now getting into this. But I decided to go travelling. Me and the wife took 6 months out, travelled, and it was just a massive change in mindset.
Yeah.
We thought, we're either going to just travel forever, grow a massive beard and grow our hair. She'd struggle. Yeah, 100%. She'd probably struggle to grow a beard. But, and then it was either that or we come home and we create like an amazing life where we can travel and do what we want and like settle here but be really free. And it was one or the other, and we were so close to just living in Thailand.
It's interesting that, because it is literally one or the other for people, I find.
100%.
They go travelling for a long time. Like you say, they'll either just carry on travelling life, living out of that, or I feel like, yeah, you realise what you really want in life. You start pursuing something 100%. Yeah.
Definitely, because you come back and then you're back in where you like maybe you've grown up and your mindset is totally not where everyone else is.
Yeah.
So like since that point, I suppose I've lost like loads of friends who were still in that mindset, not intentionally, but that just happens.
Yeah.
Where your mind is elsewhere. But I was just so 100% dedicated on creating that life, and now 3 years later, I'm getting it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, so how long did it take you to sort of build up enough income, cash flow to be able to quit your job? Or did you pursue it when you were in the police?
So I literally come back and I had to go back in the police for about a year, maybe just a bit more. I was quite fortunate, I suppose, because I played football a lot, and I busted my knee, ruptured my ACL while I was like just at the end of travelling. Yeah. So then when I went back in the police, I was on office duties because you can't carry firearms and stuff. Yeah. So during that time, I was doing office work and also trying to grow the business outside. Okay. A really good inspector.
Did they know about it when you were doing it?
Yeah, I was open about it.
I think that's what you got to do.
They were good to me, to be fair, really good, and that assisted me in leaving. But most people who work a job, especially now working from home, most people can do that on the side, and then a hell of a lot of late nights for about, I think, until about 18 months before.
Still doing that now, aren't you?
Yeah, literally like. Oh.
So, what sectors is it that you predominantly operate in?
In terms of like property investing, it's literally just at the moment HMO conversions, and that's it. Just because I see it. It's the kind of project where everyone wins. The investor wins because they get a much higher return on their cash, typically 11% yield and higher, whereas from a standard buy-to-let you're probably looking at 4% at the moment. Yeah. Especially because you can't really get any money off places. When we bid on the places, like 5 other people offering over asking and things. Yeah. So the investor's happy, the tenants get somewhere beautiful to live. We operate in the high end of the market, so we get really nice tenants. And then I win because I get paid for doing the whole thing for them. But it's taken a few years to get to the stage where I've got the knowledge to provide that value. And the circle of people around you.
What sectors do you try and stay away from? Or have you tried to stay away from in the past?
Things like lease option agreements.
Yeah.
Like, that's just sold as the dream. Become financially free in 7 days and just utter rubbish like that. Yeah. And it's bad that people are being sold that dream. Like, I talk to people often who've been on a course, paid like 1,500 quid for a 2-day course, come away with some plan in their head that they're going to secure 5 lease option agreements in the next 6 months, then they go out there and start trying to do it.
Yeah.
Or just use investors' money, That's great, and we do use investors' money, but only because we've built up a team and the knowledge in first. And I always talk about, you can get into property with no money.
Towards you as well, isn't it?
100%, you've got to attract them with your knowledge, but people think they can go on a course and then an investor's just going to chuck £1 million at them. No, exactly. It doesn't happen like that. So you can 100% use investors' money to become financially free or get into property, whatever it is, but people aren't pushing the fact that that is all down to your knowledge, not just for any other reason, really.
So just off the back of that question as well, do you think there's a set amount of money that you need to get into property?
I think 100% focus on the education, and it takes ages, but if you're in the property groups, you're following people on socials, you're watching loads of YouTube content, that's all free. Books are like a fiver, just watch and consume as much as you can. Your knowledge will be so good that then you won't even have to ask that question, and it won't be difficult then to find an investor. People in your own network will have shitloads of money that you don't know about, and once you start talking about it, getting into it, networking, just being a good person as well, and paying like an interest in what someone else is doing, opportunities will come your way, but until you do that and get off your arse, then nothing will happen.
Last question, and it's a biggie. What advice would you give yourself if you were starting out all again right from the beginning?
I think a massive piece of advice is, if you have a bad feeling about working with someone, don't do it, because at the start, and we actually just had this conversation a bit off camera, but basically when you start out you're desperate for people to work with, or desperate for investors, and you get you work way harder than you should for them, or whatever, they might be off a bit. So you just have to sort of stand your ground, know your worth until the right investor comes along, because you will be able to find someone who you get on really well with on a personal level, but they've got money and you've got knowledge, and you can offer them so much and they'll just put in the money. So if something doesn't feel right, just like trust your gut basically, and just always be a good person, go above and beyond for people, and opportunities just come your way. 100% I think the game changer.
Yeah, amazing. No, that's really good advice. Right, thank you, Ali, for joining us. And yeah, that's a wrap. Cheers, guys. I hope you enjoyed that episode, guys. I think it gave a really good insight into Alastair's sort of property journey. Stick any questions that you have in the comments, and myself and Alastair will try and answer them. I will be uploading an episode about the progression of my own renovation project in the coming weeks, so like and subscribe, and yeah, keep your eyes peeled.